another day. All right, let's ride. What up? Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah. I think that's how you say that, Happy Hanukkah. To everybody out there living in this world. Yeah, no playing this ride, man. The Chrimuhs edition. Well, I don't really say the Christmas edition, but I'm recording this shit on New Year's Eve and I'm putting it out tomorrow. So, there you go. That's the extent of my making this the Chrimuhs episode. And I say Chrimuhs because if you're from Duval County and you hear that song they put on the radio, when the girl say what she want on her Chrimuhs list, like I guess it's just you got to be from Florida, man, to get it. But it's always been funny to me. So I finally got a chance to say it. There was some shit I was recording, so I figured I'd put it out there. So welcome everybody. No playing this ride, Blackout, doing the hosting thing here. So welcome back if you've been here before. Welcome if you're new, and if you're new listening to a Christmas episode, that's weird to me, but whatever. So, I'm going to jump right into this shit. I'm going to get the bullshit news out the way, all the stuff I missed last week, and stuff that happened after I put it out. So, one of the things I wanted to talk about that I saw was that, I think it was Miss Iran or Miss Iraq. So, she decided that she wanted to be progressive, and she was, in the beauty pageant, obviously, and she took a picture with Miss Israel, and she got backlash because she's Muslim and Miss Israel's Jewish, and there's some tension there, across the globe, especially in the Middle East. And I think she was in she took a picture in a bikini as well, but it's a beauty pageant. I don't know how you wouldn't expect that, but I also don't know how she didn't expect to get backlash. Now, is it right? That depends on your moral standing, depends on how you line up with whatever particular religion. But, I really don't understand how she didn't feel like she was going to get backlash. Like, she had to know, I understand you in the beauty pageant and all, but you ain't cracking enough to where you going to overturn, centuries of morals. No matter how people may agree or disagree with it, that is people's religion, and those are the morals they follow. So, I don't know how she didn't think she was going to get backlash. Now, I will say that the death threats are extreme. you gotta relax. You gotta calm down, like Nori said. You gotta relax. It ain't that serious, but then again, I'm not cut from that particular cloth, and that really ain't got shit to do with me or nobody I know. I just thought that it was kind of funny that she didn't see it coming. Now, do I believe it's wrong that she's getting the backlash in the first place? Yeah, but at the same time, you kind of know where you stand in that particular region, especially if you're of that particular religion. So the fact that, or the thought that she didn't know that she or expect to get this backlash, or she just thought it was going to go away and go unnoticed is crazy to me because, you're Iraq and Israel standing next to each other, and everybody knows how a majority of the Muslim world reportedly feels about Israelis. So there you go. And y'all forgive me if my voice sounds fucked up, man, because like I said, it's Christmas Eve, and I'm recording this. Obviously, no playing this ride. I went to do it in the car. My dumb ass, I tried to sneak over to Jackson Box and inhale a fucking burger real quick. I knocked it out. I got it down. I was hungry. And there's about to be food at the crib, but I was like, shit, I'm hungry right now. I'm out. Let me just grab something. They open, celebrate, get the burger. Man, I wolfed that motherfucker down so I could try to jump on this podcast with a full stomach. Man, the first time I went to say something, I damn near killed myself. I don't know what you call a hiccup and a burp at the same time. Is it a hurt? Well, I ain't gonna call it no damn hurt, but I don't know what you call it. I know if you sneeze and fart, it's called a snart. If you sneeze and shit, it's called a snit. I even came up with something like if you sleep and fart, I call it a slurp. But I don't know what the hell you call a hiccup and a burp at the same damn time. I might call it sudden death. Hit me up and let me know if I got a name for this shit. hit me in the email, noplayinthisride@gmail.com or noplay247 at Twitter. But let me know what y'all call that shit, man. Cause all I know is I damn near died a couple of times. I went to drink some water, try to wash this shit down. Same damn thing. So help me out with that little bit of information if you could. And let me know what you call almost killing yourself because you ate a burger too goddamn fast. In other news, terrible news, a train went off the rails in Washington. That shit is sad. I don't know how many people got injured. I'm just reporting it because it was the biggest news of the day other than, political shit that I saw after I'd already put this fucking podcast out. I was like, damn, that's tragic, man. So keep your people close during the holiday season because you never know what can happen like in the blink of an eye. Because these people were probably on their way to work. They may have been traveling to meet family. But just like that, the fucking train goes off the rails. And some of them probably ain't going back. I didn't really want to look into the injuries too much, but it happened in Washington. There's an article on CNN. If you're interested in seeing what they're talking about, go look it up and figure that out for yourself. After the holiday season, no need to bring yourself down. Unless you got family you looking for that you can't find or something. But yeah, definitely, if that's what you want to look at, go look at it. But try to fill your holidays with happy shit. But I'm about to fill it with some bullshit right now. So another story I came across was, so there's this couple, they're partnered. I don't know if they're married now, but there's two women, and one of them got artificially inseminated. Now, she filed a lawsuit because they inseminated her with black sperm. Now, me saying that, obviously, the lady is not black. It's two white women, and one of them got inseminated with black sperm, and they have a little black girl, a little, I guess, mixed girl, rather. And she was trying to sue I guess, the facility that she got it from, but the judge ended up throwing it out. And and while I can understand her being angry, because that you didn't get what you wanted, and that's something you got to deal with for the rest of your life. It's just like, well, what do you do at this point? Do you keep the child that you kind of want, kind of don't want, or do you get rid of the child? I don't know where else to go with that. Like you wanted to have a baby, you weren't in the situation where you could biologically have it with the person that you're with, and the consequence, the unfair consequence of you going to do it artificially is you end up with a child that's, at least a race that you did not want. And I don't know. That's tough. I probably shouldn't have laughed at that. But what can I say? I'm a terrible person. Well, hopefully that baby gets some nice Christmas gifts. But yeah, that was weird. I really don't know what to say about that. I thought it was funny, terribly, but then now as I read it on this, I feel like it's kind of fucked up that I laughed at that. In other black and white news, the owner of the Panthers, I think I talked about it last week, but he got into some bullshit with one of these females. He fucked up apparently, and he decided he's going to sell the team. Now, I said this last week. Now, he's either ridiculously guilty or ridiculously smart because as that franchise being an expansion team, it probably only cost him a few million, and I'm pretty sure he's going to flip it for like a couple of billion because when he first bought the team, expansion team, they weren't really successful. There was going to be a struggle, so he got in there cheap. Now he's selling that shit for probably close to, or he wants to sell it for close to billions. So, the lady coming out kind of helped him out in a way. He don't have to worry about the team no more. He's already made his money. He's going to be gone. And, if you get jammed up, just go away smooth like that, man. It's like, hey, man, cash out and get out the way. And they'll get your name out the media for the most part. But that's not what I really want to say about that situation. The crazy shit is that same day or maybe in that same weekend, Diddy came out saying, hey, I want to buy the team. And anybody who's paid attention to hip hop or just entertainment or pop culture over the past few years know Diddy got some damn money. So if Diddy say he wants to buy the team, you got to take that as him being serious. But apparently, Daria Folsom on the news and the fucking guy who called in, Henry something, they didn't feel that way. So it was a news channel, I think it's in San Francisco. They, aired the clip or whatever, and she was on screen talking to somebody who called in. I think it's another guy that worked there. And The guy's black, and he was saying like, oh, he must have drunk a couple 40s. He looks like he's high, talking all types of crazy about Diddy, like he ain't got no money. Now, the one thing we know about millionaires and billionaires is they don't waste their time fucking with broke people like you and me. You know, temporarily broke people like you and me. They rub shoulders with other billionaires. So I don't know why anybody would think that Diddy just think he's going to be able to come out of his pocket and pay for a whole NFL team. Of course, he's probably going to get a group together to buy the team. So when he was on the phone, he just made himself look like an idiot. Like, I don't know who he thought was watching that show or who he thought was going to see that, if he knew they were on air or not. I don't know what happened, but, like, Twitter, the internet's tearing their ass up right now, and I would be shocked if they still had their jobs. The irony is that it's a black man saying this shit. But then, you know, you can never be too sure, because sometimes people get into that corporate environment, or they get in an environment where they feel they're supposed to be a certain way as black people, and they have to act a certain way, and they acquiesce to the attitude and the morals and the, you know, the expectation of those people around them, and they'll say little shit to try to get over, to try to fit in. And I don't know if that was the case, but he was laying their own Puff Daddy. And I'm like, damn, he's talking real reckless about cuz. Like, there won't be no repercussions for this. But he probably either got in some type of trouble, or he probably lost his damn job. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with it, man. I guess I'll follow up on the story and try to, you know, dig into it and see what's up, man. But yeah, people, you know, you're gonna take a loss over stupid shit. Like, your job is to do the news, not talk shit about somebody who has way more money than you. You know what I mean? In a situation like that, like there was no way he could do it. He obviously has the funds to make it happen, or at least the connection. So you look like a dummy. And the girl who was on the show with you looks stupid as well. And the thing is, like, they don't even really know who the guy is. Like, you know, you got to dig for it. The Daria Folsom name is out there. So, because it was her segment of the show. So she didn't even really say the shit. She just kind of laughed and agreed with it. So now she gonna take the loss mostly on his behalf. Now, it is her fault. It's her damn show. It's her responsibility. And she was kikiing, and she did make a comment here or there, but she didn't go to the level that he did. So I don't know. She should have never asked him that question, because she probably asked him the question like a joke anyway. And they tried to play Diddy, and now both of them looking fucking stupid. So we'll see what happens with that. What else happened in the world of important news that I'm not aware of right now? Oh yeah, former pilot said he saw a UFO, or thought he saw a UFO. So there's that shit. Like, you know, through me looking at TV and hearing certain things as a kid, I would hear stories about guys saying, hey, about especially like old military pilots, like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck it was, and I was just flying, and then some shit came out and did something that I didn't think was possible in the air, and then it was gone. That's like the common story you hear. I mean, I don't know why my man would have a reason to lie, but I definitely believe in aliens. And if I don't now, if I didn't then, I damn sure do now, because, well, I thought I did. I was out here at Walmart, and I'm trying to park, and people just stopped in the middle of the fucking parking lot. So, you know, I'm ignorant, angry, like I'm looking like what the fuck is going on. I just happened to look up. There was this larger woman standing out, got out of her car, took her phone out, was taking pictures. Like, what the fuck is that? And all you saw when you looked up was like this big cloud of smoke, and then you saw two objects in the air, one with the rear light facing, you know, the rear, obviously, and there's another one right behind it with the light facing the rear light. So the two lights were facing each other, but they were going in the same direction. And I had never seen no shit like this before. And I figured it was just probably like some military operation or some shit. Or, you know, it's about to be Independence Day down this motherfucker. But for a second, I ain't gonna front, for a second, I was nervous. Like, damn, I don't know if I want to go in this damn store. I kind of just want to leave. Or let me go in. I come back, the whole fucking parking lot is vaporized or something. But I got home and I looked it up, and apparently they launched like a satellite. And by the time I got finished looking it up, it was on my Facebook feed. And people had seen that shit from like miles away. Like, it hit as far as Arizona. But I figured it was something closer to me, but apparently I was fucking wrong. I was wrong. But I don't know. The more I hear, the more I believe in aliens, just because of the weird shit that's happening. So, I don't know. Explain the pyramids and all the Stonehenge and all the other shit. I don't know. I'm just talking shit. Aliens are real. it's a struggle. Speaking of struggle, so I'm like a YouTube nerd. I watch TV, but I primarily watch shit on my phone on YouTube because the TV talks when I get to the crib. So there's a show on YouTube. It's called Everyday Struggle, and I believe the concept was created by Joe Buttons. So it's Joe Buttons. There's a female moderator on there, Nadeska, and then there's a dude, DJ Academics. I don't know if he's a real DJ. I know that's his name. So he's an internet guy. He's built a pretty decent following on the internet, and of course, if you're familiar with hip hop at all, Joe Buttons is a pretty talented lyricist who's been maneuvering on the internet for a while. He's one of the first rappers to really maneuver on the internet, like almost solely. So seeing him on the show wasn't a big surprise, but apparently he got fired. And it pissed me off because, like, I'm a fan of the show. I'm a fan of his music. I'm a fan of his podcast, and I'm a fan of the show. I think it's good that you have that open, like, debate between a younger guy in academics, and then you have, the veteran rapper Joe Buttons. It's kind of like, the dynamic between, you have the sportscaster or the sports writer who's on Monday Night Football or whatever football, and then you have the player, whether it be baseball, football, basketball. That's usually the dynamic because you get the side that's been covering the sport for years, and then you get the athlete side of the guy who's been playing sports, the guy or girl who's been playing sports for years, and they give you that that different perspective on shit. So that's kind of the dynamic they had on the show. They had the female moderator. They had the internet guy who's more of a fan of all. I think academics listen to pretty much everything, but he'll rock with that little goofy shit, whatever most people in my age group don't really rock with. And then you got, like I said, you got the veteran lyricist rapper on the show. And I think it was a cool dynamic. And unfortunately, due to contract negotiations, I think the shit fell apart. It's sad because it was a really good show, and I think that platform will be missed because I don't know how they're gonna make the show work. And the crazy thing about it is, like, listening and trying to figure out what happened. Apparently, bro Joe Buttons had his kid, was on leave, and was gonna come back, and it was kind of like, nah, homie, you don't need to come back. I guess they decided to go a different direction because his contract was up, and he wasn't willing to acquiesce what he wanted, and they weren't willing to pay him. So now, I don't know. I think Complex fucked that up. Complex, Verizon, whoever made that shit happen, I feel like Complex fucked that up because you can't put nobody else in that spot. You may, depending on the type of crowd you want to put in there, if you want to get like the young kids watching it, but you're going to lose. I think that was mostly like a hip hop head show, mainly because Joe Buttons on there. I couldn't see how a young kid who's fucking with like Little Uzi and Yachty and all them motherfuckers would really watch the show because Joe was honest in his opinions of that shit, and he'll call it trash. Or it'd be like somebody who's hardcore Democrat watching Fox News. Like, you're going to watch it just to be pissed off. So I can't really see them watching it. So I think they're going to lose a chunk of their demographic by not having Joe Buttons on the show. Shit, I've already unsubscribed. It's just like, it ain't like, the subs really matter when you got 2 million people. But if you get enough of people unsubscribing for your shit, it's going to hurt. You don't have enough, you don't have the traffic coming through, you're going to lose that ad money. So in the long run, it can hurt. Hopefully they figure something out and get them back on the show because them having other guests on there, that just ain't going to fucking do it. Like, they had Who Kid on there, and, Who Kid, he did his thing. He was out there with G-Unit and all that shit and them. But I don't want to fucking sit there and listen to Who Kid on on Everyday Struggle. It just don't look right. He don't have the same, I guess, personality Joe got. It don't look right having nobody else sitting in that chair. It kind of fucks up the whole dynamic of the show. So we'll see what happens. I think Academics, his contract negotiations are about to start, and he can't carry that show by himself. If they don't get Joe, they're going to have to get a bad motherfucker in that spot. Because most people, I would say, in my age range, probably look at Academics like he's a sucker. He's constantly getting, punked and chumped out by guests that come on there talking to him a little, like, you got a kid now. I don't know how old Academics is. And he ain't like the smallest nigga. And you now, I know Vic Mensa Good rapper, by the way, from Chicago. I know he's from Chicago and he does his rap shit and all that, but I can't see me sitting in a chair and letting some guy smaller than me tell me, yeah, I was gonna slap the shit. I wanted to slap the shit out you, or whatever for some shit you said, and me just sitting there like, okay, and just letting that shit go and getting chumped like that. And no fucking way. Nobody you will see me with, nobody that I talk to is ever gonna let some shit like that go down. And I don't know if it's because Academics is young and he's trying to be in the industry and he wants to be able to have this guy's ear on, but at some point, like, hey, listen, there's a job, there's a career, and I'm a man. And that my man is gonna come before all that shit. And I don't know if Academics got kids or whoever, but I couldn't have just sat there and took that like that. You know, even if I handled it professionally, like, yo, check this out, bro. I need that. You're not gonna play me on on the fucking internet, which is gonna be seen all over the world. Like some millions of subscribers to the show. You're not gonna play me like that, and I'm just not gonna not say nothing. We need to fucking fight, or I would have snuffed him. I'm just saying, like, I'm a fan of Vic Mensa, but if that was me, Vic Mensa would have got snuffed. And I'm pretty sure if the situation would have been reversed and the Academics had some shit crazy like that to Vic Mensa probably would have snuffed him. Just saying. It's a damn shame that the show went down like that, but it bees like that sometimes. It bees like that. And what else was? Oh yeah, sports. So football, my Jags pissed me off today. They locked up the division, but they got beat by the fucking 49ers. It's all good. Like, we'll be back. Green Bay lost, so I'm not that mad. The Bears won, Green Bay lost. I'm not that mad. The Bulls are doing a little bit better. Chris Dunn has been out there doing this thing. I wasn't sure about him, coming after what he did in Minnesota, but I'm looking at it now. He probably didn't really have the ability or I'm not going to say the ability. He probably didn't have the chance to do that shit in Minnesota because, Levine and all them were over there, and then they had Ricky Rubio running the point. So maybe he didn't have the opportunity. I think he was banged up a little bit over there. Now he's getting a chance to kind of run the offense with the Bulls. And the crazy thing when they were doing the draft, I wanted them to get Chris Dunn or Jerry Grant. They didn't get neither. They ended up trading, getting Jerry Grant, and then they ended up trading and getting Chris Dunn. So it's funny how shit happens, but we'll see how it turns out. Zach LaVine should be back, I think, after the All-Star break. So we'll see what happens, man. I'll stop bashing them to get winning a few games. And I'm doing it out of love because that's my squad. It's the squad I was born into, the Chicago Bulls. So y'all please keep doing well. I love to be wrong when it comes to my teams. If I call you a bum, go to the All-Star game, go to the playoffs, make me feel like an idiot. I love to be wrong when I'm talking about my teams, and I own that shit. And the Lakers, man, they're looking okay. Lonzo was hooping, he's knocking. His shooting has got a little bit better the past few games. But man, Killer Kuz, bro. Kuzma has been killing. He dropped almost 40 points a couple of games ago, I think, against the Rockets. And they beat Houston. That boy Killer Kuz is on a fucking mission. He like, yeah, y'all keep on talking about Lonzo. I keep on talking about Lonzo. I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to get these buckets. But all that's changed, though, because the spotlight has kind of shifted towards his way as well, in a positive light. Like, Lonzo was getting all the bad bullshit press. But everybody loved Kuzma. And, under that pressure in L.A., he's been balling. I think Kobe is maybe a part of that. Like, he got the skill set, obviously, because he was getting buckets before. But, like, hearing him talk about the experience he had, I guess, with them, one of the guys from the team told him that Kobe's like, hey, you should text him so he could talk. And I think maybe that might have boosted his confidence, speaking to the Mamba. And, Kobe's probably telling him to, embrace that Mamba mentality. He's been doing that. I think a lot of the guys on the team been doing that. Jordan Clarkson, Brandon Ingram. He's been in and he's been on and off, but I still got faith in Ingram because he's not playing like he played last year. The few games I caught last year, he just shooting jumpers on the perimeter. Now he get the rock, he driving them every time. And I think that's the Kobe Bryant influence, man. So hopefully, Kuzma keeps taking that notes. He keeps going out there and killing people, man, because he's getting buckets, and I surely appreciate it because he's almost positionless. 3 to 4 maybe. He's not really a banger, but he'll get rebounds, and he'll block. He can shoot from range. So I don't know how he fell that low in the draft, but I'm glad he did because he's out there hooping for us. And I think the Lakers got a bright future if they keep this team together. I heard some talk about them trading Jordan Clarkson. I hope that's not the case. I hope they keep most of those guys in. I want to see the other rookie they got, the big man. I think it's about time he gets on the court because Andrew Bogut ain't, his mind is there, but his body ain't. He can't move enough to do what the Lakers want him to do. So I think it's time they let the young boy get some play. And they may let him get some burn after the playoff break or after if it gets to the point where they absolutely not going to make the playoffs. And I say that when it gets to that point because who knows what the future holds? Who knows what type of run they can get on? They've taken the best team in the league to their limit to overtime twice. I know one of those games Steph wasn't playing, but the first game he was playing. It took him to overtime. They hung with Houston, so we'll see if they hit their groove and they can run like they've been doing and keep the momentum. They might be something. So hopefully they keep at least the core of that team intact. I'm talking about Clarkson, Randall, KCP, Lonzo, of course, Kuzma, Ingram, even Corey Brew, who I was shitting on, who made me feel like a dummy with the defense he plays. And they need to let that young boy, I forgot his name, he's a rookie. They need to let him get in there and bang a little bit. I hope they keep Josh Hart. Anybody else they give him the fuck out of it. And Brook Lopez when he gets back because I like them, the fact that he can, step out behind him and shoot from three. But they need to get their fucking free throws under control because that shit is crazy. So yeah, that's speaking of sports, and I'm gonna piss Florida people off twice today. And the first thing I'm going to do to piss y'all off is talk about two former Orlando Magic superstars. And the one y'all praise, and I'm not talking about Shaq, I'm not talking about Penny, I'm talking about T-Mac. I said something about T-Mac a while ago on one of these other podcasts. I don't remember which one it was. It was one of the earlier joints I did. But I said I didn't feel like T-Mac should be in the Hall of Fame. I just didn't. He didn't do enough for me. Yes, he balled. Yes, he was a scoring champ. He was never an MVP, to get into the Hall of Fame, never being an MVP, never really doing shit in the playoffs. Like I can't really get with that. We're putting T-Mac in the Hall of Fame. I don't see it. I think it makes the Hall of Fame look weak because when you say Hall of Famer, you putting him next to people like Michael Jordan. You putting him in the same category as Kobe Bryant, LeBron when he gets there. KD will probably get there and be in the Hall of Fame. So I'm thinking Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, Dr. J, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale. I'm thinking the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm thinking about great, right? So almost everybody I named, Scottie Pippen, is a multiple champion. They either got one or they got more than one. Pay attention to what I'm saying. So for me to accept personally T-Mac being in the Hall of Fame, I just can't. I can't do it. He's in the NBA Hall of Fame, but I give him a big asterisk because he balled out in the East when he was getting buckets. He balled out when the East was trash, and he still didn't do shit. And one of the reasons I'm so hard on T-Mac is because I feel like he cried his way out of Toronto because he wanted to be the man. Got to Orlando, cried his way out of there, went to Houston, and still didn't do shit. Who knows what could have happened if he had stayed with Orlando and then maybe through some miracle they still get Dwight Howard in the draft. That combination could have been crazy. Would it have worked? We don't know. It could have gone bad. It could have gone well. It would have taken a lot of pressure off Dwight Howard to be a scorer and to carry the franchise. Which brings me to my second point. If T-Mac is a Hall of Famer, that big goofy motherfucker people talk about all the time, Dwight Howard, he's a Hall of Famer. If you disagree, go look at the stats. Go look at how their personal achievements line up. Has either one of them ever been an MVP? No. Has either one of them been an All-Star? They both been All-Stars. Has either one of them been Defensive Player of the Year? Yeah. Has one been a scoring champ? Yeah. Has one been a Defensive Player of the Year? Yes. Has one been to the finals? Yes. Has one got a gold medal with the Olympics? Yes. Who was that? Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard is a multiple All-Star, multiple All-NBA, multiple All-Defensive team. He got to the finals. He took the team to, he's the best player on their team. They went to the finals, and he got a gold medal. And he won a dunk contest. He done all type of shit T-Mac ain't never did. So that's my argument, man, for the people that's like, oh, T-Mac never did shit for your team. And he may score some points. He dropped 50. What's the result? He dropped, I don't know, he shot how many shots? Cool. He didn't make anybody better. Dwight Howard being a defensive presence with his athleticism and his size at the center position, and I'm going to keep it a buck with you. By the way, when he was at his peak, he was the best center in the league. T-Mac has never been the best person at his position in the league ever. Because if he was playing the 3, LeBron James was better than him. And if he was playing the 2, Kobe Bryant's better than him. So he's never been the best at his position. Dwight Howard has. And that may be for lack of big man, but you know, if you look at it, you got to go with the timetable. Was he the best person at that position in the league at his peak? Yes, he was. So, and one of the reasons I really get mad with the whole T-Mac shit is because he, when he became a Hall of Famer, it's like he got a little smug, you know, for a guy who didn't, you know, and all Hall of Famers don't want a ring, right? But for the way he said pissed me off, because he said anybody can get a ring, not everybody can get into the Hall of Fame. So me being the asshole that I am, I said, you know what, T-Mac, let's look at this, right? So, yes, you got in the Hall of Fame, right? But you don't have a ring. You don't have a decent playoff run fucking period. I don't know if Tracy McGrady ever made it out the first fucking round of the playoffs. So that's why I said you stick him next to Hall of Famers. Like, you got to think about who you putting this man next to. Let's talk about, I'll give you 3 Hall of Famers right now. 4 never got a ring, right? And you willing to put T-Mac next to these people. Patrick Ewing was one of the best big men in the league for a long time when there were a bunch of when there were a bunch of good big men in the league. He was competing with Shaquille O'Neal, a young Shaq, Alonzo Mourning, David Robinson, Dikembe Mutombo, Hakeem Olajuwon. And you got to think even like the Kevin Duckworths, the Rick Smiths of the world. You know, he never got a ring. Karl Malone, Hall of Famer, never got a ring. Deep playoffs run, went to the finals twice. Charles Barkley, Hall of Famer, never got a championship ring. But he was constantly in the playoffs, making deep runs into the playoffs, contributing. All those guys went to the finals. Shit, John Stockton with Karl Malone, you know, had the record for assists, a consistent league leader in steals, league leader in assists. Probably one of the best two-way guards who ever played the game. Run the team, D you up, dish, could shoot. Come on, man. I got to put this guy next to that. I can't do it. But if he's in, Dwight Howard got to be in. That's only fair. It's just for you to say shit like that. You know, because when you a Hall of Famer without a ring, that's always going to be the thing. Like, oh, you're a Hall of Famer, but you didn't get a ring, though. For these guys that won championships but didn't get to the Hall of Fame, there's no asterisk by them, even though they weren't a superstar. You got to respect role players, or even be to the point where when you are an elite superstar, you learn how to turn into a role player once you realize that your time is, you know, that your body and age has slowed you down, whether it be injury or whatever, you can still be valuable to a team and accept that role and excel at it. Shit, Scottie Pippen did it. He almost helped get the fucking Blazers to the finals. Ray Allen did it. You know, KG wasn't exactly the star of the team when the Celtics went to the championship. So, you know, you got to, for me, that's how I gauge stuff. I'm looking at your competition level, and can I put you next to KG? Not really. Not in my book. KG was a real fucking leader. He made people on his team better. And then it's just what he said. Like, anybody can get a ring. And some people may agree with that because, yes, you're going to have people on the team, but the role players on the championship team contribute heavily. So since he said that, I took the liberty of myself being petty, and I'm going to say, you know what, since you had the nerve to say that bullshit, I'm going to go look at the old rosters that you were on, and I'm going to look and see if anybody else got a ring without you, because obviously you weren't good enough to lead the team to a ring. So let me just go down my little list, right? Mike Miller, NBA champion, not a superstar role player. Judd Bushler, multiple-time NBA champion. Horace Grant, multiple-time NBA champion. Jacques Vaughn, NBA champion. Deshaun Stevenson, NBA champion. Tyronn Lue, NBA champion. Zaza Pachulia, NBA champion. The one thing these guys got in common, they were all teammates of Tracy McGrady. But you know what nobody's ever going to say about them? Is, oh, he's got a ring, but he's not in the Hall of Fame. They're never going to say that. The knock on you is going to be, oh, yeah, you went to the Hall of Fame, but you never got a ring. You know, that's the big regret. So, and I only harp on it so much because the way he said it made me dislike him even more. Because I don't like fucking crybabies in sports. When you had the chance to play with your fucking cousin, who knows what Toronto could have been if you stayed there with Vince. They could have had the East on lock in an age where the East wasn't really that competitive. You know, they could have been the next Jordan and Pippen, but you want to bounce. That's cool. You watch the game, Vince still playing. We'll see who history remembers better out of the two of you guys. I do know this, though. Vince got to the playoffs. You know what I mean? He made it out the fucking first round. Mr. McGrady. But I'm off that right now. And I'm going to continue to piss off Florida people right now. Well, not right yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys a quick review on a documentary I saw. So along with me giving you like little podcast reviews or basically doing a review on somebody I know who's contributing to the community or they made a major come up in life or they're on their way to making a major come up in life. I also like to drop in a little Netflix documentary or a movie review. I'm going to start doing these more often. But the one I'm going to tell you guys about today is it's a gem of a documentary. For all the, all the street cats, all the guys who ever read Feds magazine or who ever read or ever looked at American gangster documentaries on TV. The one I'm going to talk to you about is called Cracking the System. And it's about Rick Ross. Freeway Rick Ross. The real Rick Ross from California. So, I mean, if you're not familiar with, if anybody's ever heard the term Reaganomics, all this plays into what I'm about to talk about. And I don't want to basically tell you the whole documentary and you're not going to fucking watch it. But it's real good. So it basically tells the story of how Rick Ross went from ordinary cat, lower income family in the South Central LA to become a drug kingpin, to being connected to the government, and then him getting out, having a pitfall, going back in, and then getting himself out, and then his struggle to, rebuild his life and, get his name back, basically. Now, oftentimes when people go to prison, they end up going right back in, and unfortunately for him, he did do that. But the situation with him was so weird. So if you ever heard of, I'm going to say the irony of politics real quick, how people praise Ronald Reagan, especially the fucking Republicans. People praise Ronald Reagan, and they forget to mention one thing about him, that he was an actor. And politicians, they act. They play people. It's what they do. They're going to talk to you to mold you to think that what they're talking about is going to somehow improve your life or something that they're saying is somehow good for you. There's some value in the content that they're putting out to the world, basically, right, as a politician. So my big beef with Reagan is, as I found out through another good documentary called The American Drug War, was his role in the cocaine/crack epidemic that hit the inner city in the 80s. So this is the epidemic that swept the nation and ruined the inner city and poor neighborhoods for like a generation or two was just lost to this shit. Because people still out there pumping crack and using crack to this day. So basically, the drug flow from the cartels in the West spread east, right? And when you just look at it on the basic level, like, okay, geography, they're right there, we're right here. There's a huge drug market. But, like any market, that market has to be created. So with the Iran-Contra scandal, the word is, or it's actually confirmed, but I want you to watch the documentary, and you'll see how our government wanted to support the Nicaraguan Contras, because the Sandinistas overthrew the government, and the freedom fighters were getting together to try to throw the government back over in Nicaragua, and that's who our government wanted in power. But Congress decided to stop backing the Nicaraguans, or the freedom fighters. So in turn, there was a weapons deal put together some type of way to where I don't know how 100% how it went. I know Iran was involved somehow, so I don't know if the weapons went to Iran or the weapons came from Iran. Iran probably got Soviet weapons, and then the Contras were buying those weapons from Iran. I'm not 100% sure how it happened, but I know Iran was involved, hence the word Iran-Contra scandal. Look it up if you care. But basically, they didn't have the money, or they didn't have a means to buy the weapons. So the drug pipeline was opened up through the U.S., and via that drug pipeline, the funds were accumulated to buy the weapons to get the weapons to the Contras so they could overthrow the government. So the person that our government wanted to be in power would be in power. It sounds kind of complicated, but basically We want a guy to be in power. We can't front the money or give the resources to said freedom fighters. So we come up with a way for the freedom fighters to accrue the funds to buy the weapons to overthrow the leader that we no longer want in power. That's how the world works. Sadly. So the Contras get the weapons. Whoever has the weapons gets paid. But the consequence of that is you now have generations of people who deal with drug addiction and drug violence and drug culture. And people forget that the dealers are victims too. And if not even the dealers, then their families, because they're like, once you get caught up in that shit and you get stuck in that cycle, it's hard for somebody to change. Imagine making money hand over fist, daily. You making thousands, hundreds of thousands, dollars a day. And you say you get knocked, you go do your bid, and you get out. And, that's attached to your name forever. So how do you function after that? Because they not giving people life sentences for drugs. They locking people the fuck up. So you said you do 10, 15 year stretch, you come out. Now you got to catch up to how the world's going. You got this felony on your record. And then you trying to go work a job, if you can get a job, and you're not going to have anywhere close to the money you were making. So then you're back in that same fucked up, poverty-stricken situation that you were in. But what do you see? Now, I would say it's pretty prominent, and if you're in a low-income neighborhood, there's a good chance that there's some drug trafficking going on. You may not be directly close to it, but if you've been in a bad neighborhood, you can tell when there's drug trafficking going on. You're close to it. Being in a lower-income neighborhood, it's a safe bet to say you're close to some drug trafficking. So if you're familiar with their lifestyle, you're going to be able to see the signs. You're going to be able to see when people are dropping off, picking up. You're going to be able to see people selling, who's the runner, who's this, that, and the third. So, and you're going to see that quick money. So what do people do? They relapse, in a sense, because they're addicted to the rush of getting that money. You hear drug dealers say it all the time. Like, they were addicted to the easy success of getting money and having money right then and there. So a lot of guys who went to jail for drugs, they go in, they come out, they try to go straight, or they learn how they think, to be a better criminal on the inside. They come out, try it again, they get caught up again and go back, and it's just a cycle. Coming to jail becomes a normal thing, and it's like a thing in the inner city. Like, somebody go to jail for what you go to jail for. You're like, oh, you went for dope. We went to jail for dope. He's like, oh, okay. It's just like it's not even thought about. But it's that vicious cycle. So the drug dealers, in a way, they're victims too, because and if not, them directly, their families are victims because their families go through this shit with them while they're going in and out of jail. Not to mention the families of the addicts. So it's a crazy system that's in place, but it benefited our government, who didn't care because that shit won in neighborhoods where votes count. Let's be honest. And it's going to help them get somebody in power they want in power. Ain't shit crazy. But how it all ties into Rick Ross is, Rick Ross was the fucking man in L.A. He had his distribution system going when he was getting drugs out everywhere. He gets knocked, he meets the Connect. The Connect being the guy sent by the government. This cat named Danilo Blandon, who's connected to the the Contras and the cartels and stuff. So Danilo Blandon becomes the plug who helps Rick make a ridiculous amount of money, and Rick's bringing back the work, boom, on clock. So everybody's happy because Rick Ross is an asset to the U.S. government and their global agenda, right? And then he gets caught up and he goes to jail. So Rick Ross comes back out, trying to be on the straight and narrow, and he gets a phone call from XYZ. He makes a mistake, ends up back in jail. But what I say I'm going to piss Florida people off about is when he gets out, now he's got a deal. He's trying to get out of he's trying to get out of jail. But the whole time he's trying to get out of jail, you have a rapper, Rick Ross, using his name, talking about how he moved all these keys and how he sell all these drugs, push all this weight. So now, that could be used against him while he's trying to get out of jail, because now, oh, look, this is Rick Ross's influence on young black youth, drugs and violence and all this shit. Because you got some asshole in Florida telling everybody, I know Pablo, the real Pablo, I wrote Noriega, the real Noriega, whoever the fuck he said he knew in that song. Everything he does is about his whole base of his music is about him being this big time boss and this big time drug dealer, all the while using somebody else's name. So how can this man ever get clear? And this isn't the first time, somebody had kind of checked Rick Ross on that because he was walking around with these Booby Boy shirts on, and apparently the people who were in this so-called Booby Boys gang in Miami, or this crew, didn't appreciate it because they had people also trying to get out of jail. But by him wearing that shirt and promoting what he was promoting, he could potentially fuck up somebody else getting out of jail. And the irony is that while he's making all these millions and talking about people that he's in no way really related to at all, you know, they're stuck in jail. He's probably hurting their chances of getting out of jail. And this motherfucker used to be a correctional officer. Ain't that a bitch? So then, you know, Rick Ross actually gets, the real Rick Ross gets out of jail. And I want you to watch it and see how he got himself out of jail. Just keep in mind, this is a man who was running a crack empire, a drug empire, who couldn't fucking read. He didn't learn how to read till he was 28 years old. And he'll talk about that in the documentary. So I don't want to give you too much of it because I want you to watch it. So he basically gets out and takes Rick Ross to court. He's seeking $10 million and half his royalties. I mean, as he should. Because he could have potentially cost me more of my life, helped me up from getting out of jail, but you making fame off of my name. And, you know, long story short, he didn't win the case, but I think fake Rick Ross had to pay for his legal fees, which was in the high $100,000. So maybe a small win there, but then not really. It's not what he was looking for. This man that came up off his name, and, you know, now he can't even win the case in court, and he back to struggling, you know. So please check it out. And just, I want you to pay attention and watch it to the end and pay attention to the reasoning behind rapper Rick Ross using the real Freeway Rick Ross's name. I'm not gonna give it away. I want you to watch this shit and see the fucking excuse that your boy Ricky Ross used for using this man's name. Like, ever since I found this shit out, he really paid attention. I cannot buy any more Rick Ross's music. And I understand, like, it's rap, it's all entertainment, this, that, and the third. I get that 100%. I got it. But once I heard that, it's like I can't fake it no more. Like, you already faking it by saying the shit you saying. I can't fake it and support you financially anymore. I can't use my money to buy your product, your album, when I know 100% everything you said was a fucking lie. And you got people that are, you know, they got people behind bars that you fucking up by using their name and promoting some shit they did when they were in the, you know, the young boy stages. So please, you know, check that out. It's called Crack in the System. It's on Netflix. And please hit me up, man, and let me know if, when you watch it, how it made you feel. If you still feel like you can fuck with Rick Ross, rapper Rick Ross. If you still feel like you can listen to that, man, and if you still see him in the same light. And also let me know how you felt about my T-Mac comments, because I don't feel like he should be a Hall of Famer, but goddamn it, if he's going to be one, Dwight Howard should be one too. Boom, there you go. And you can give me that lovely feedback at noplayinthisride@gmail.com. Please drop me an email. You can also hit me on Twitter at noplayinthisride. It's going to be at noplay247. That's capital N, lowercase o, capital Play, noplay247 at Twitter. I got a Facebook page, No Play in This Ride. Leave me a review on Facebook, or not on Facebook, but fucking iTunes. Rate, review me on whatever platform you're listening to me on, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Stitcher, whether it's TuneIn, whether it's Google Play, iTunes. Leave me a review, man. Let me know how I can improve and how I can get shit cracking. Even if you're listening through like the Libsyn website, because I'm using the Libsyn hosting service. So if you listen to me that way, boom, do that. So yeah, anyway, man, I wish you guys the best. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I'm gonna end this on a positive note. I'm gonna be nice and try to close out the year decently. So I give my sincerest wishes of a happy holiday to all you dirty ass Miami Hurricanes and dirty ass Florida Gator fans. Fuck y'all. Peace.